Hi, my name is Julieta, and I'm here to give you an overview of my interview that I had with my current sous chef, Mike Villarosa. He is a former Kendall student, and he's been working in the industry for about 5 or 6 years now. He has been the sous chef slash manager at Belena for about a year, and was my manager and sous chef for my entire time at Belena for the last 7 months. Belena is a rustically and regionally inspired Italian restaurant that focuses on using local and seasonal products in all of our food. He supervises the kitchen side of the restaurant with about 10 to 12 line cooks at any given time, plus more prep cooks during the day. I would like to start by talking about some of the lessons that I learned. He gave me a lot of really great insight into the industry, and obviously he's known me for a little bit, and so our interview was a little bit more comfortable and familiar, and so he was really honest with a lot of things, gave me a lot of great examples. So first I want to start, like I said, with some lessons that I learned. The first being about hiring new employees. The way that I was hired was I staged there a few times, and then they eventually offered me a position, which he said was actually how they focus on recruiting and hiring most of their people. It's usually people who seek out stages with the restaurant that they invite to come back a few more times and to keep staging, just to see how they fit in with the kitchen, how hard they work, how passionate they are about this industry. And based on their performances, that's when they sit down, see if they're looking for a job, potentially offer them a job. They do get applications, and from the applications, they said that those are important, but what's most important is how they stage and how they fit in with the kitchen, which I think is a great kind of method for the kitchen side of a restaurant, just because you don't want somebody that doesn't fit in. And as he said, it's a great way to see how hard of a worker someone is, because they should be trying very hard, especially if they want a job. The other thing that he talked about was staff conflicts, which was something that I witnessed a few times there, and I just kind of wanted to ask him what he thought overall, like how those kinds of situations should be handled. His overlying advice was just that different situations require different methods of handling them, and that there's no set way to handle arguments between staff or any type of conflict that exists. He gave me a few different examples. One of my pastry co-workers who was having an argument with the server, or an argument that happened between two of the line cooks. He said it's hard to not get caught up in the moment, but that he wishes he might have a more general set of guidelines that he might follow to help kind of guide him in all situations, but that each situation needs to be handled on a case-by-case basis. Other than that, another thing that we kind of talked about was his experience as a manager. As I said, he was a former student at Kendall, and that's actually why I chose him for this interview, is because I thought it would be a great perspective to see how his opinion of management and what he thinks managers do and how they're important in the industry has changed since being a student to now being a manager. He did say that he was once really inexperienced, that he went from being a line cook to managing all the line cooks, which is a very different kind of approach, because you are responsible for your station, and then you go to being responsible for everybody's station and the people running them. He said that it takes time and practice, and it's kind of a position that you grow into, and you're not necessarily going to be great at it once you start. He gave actually a really great analogy. As a student, it made sense to me, just in that it's kind of like a new recipe that you try out. The more you try it, the more you practice it, the more you become familiar with it, the better you get at it, and the more perfect it will be each time. So he kind of gave that analogy to help explain it. As I said, he just said it's really a position you grow into and you come to know how to handle, and you know what kind of behavior is appropriate in which situations and how to handle different people, because you start seeing a lot of crazy different things and meeting a lot of different people. Another thing he talked about that's really key, I think, that we learned in class, and he even mentioned was really important in the workplace, was motivating employees. That motivating your employees is something that is not always easy to do, but he said that his simple kind of motto on motivating employees was just that you pay them what they deserve and you treat them right. That's basically the key to it all, and what he's seen the most success with. As a line cook, he knows how hard it is to, pay bills, have student loans, rent, things like that on a cook's salary. And so he's one of the biggest proponents at Balena, he said, of giving people raises when they deserve them or when they've worked hard, or rewarding people in small ways. He gave the little quib of, you make people care by caring about them, which is something that I have seen personally as a pastry cook there, that he takes care in knowing about his employees, asking how they are every single time he sees them or when they walk into work, which I think is a great lesson. Just, even in larger companies where knowing each and every employee by name or knowing about their lives is not always possible, just a simple, hi, how are you doing, is a great way to show your employees that you care, which, as he said, you make people care by caring about them. His overall personal philosophy as a manager is just to be there for your employees. Be a good person that they can follow, someone they can trust, but look up to at the same time. You don't want to be their buddy, but you want to be an authoritative figure, but an approachable one, and one that they feel like they can go to, and one that they respect. So work hard and always try to remain professional as possible. He did say something really interesting, which I thought was pertinent to this class, in the sense that as a student, he learned these things kind of how we're learning them now, and all the things we read in the chapter and the exercises that we do. And it's not always easy to see how they connect to the real world, because it's all good on paper, but they don't seem like they're concepts that really operate in the workplace. But he said that they actually do, that a lot of things, although they're not called the same or by the same definition, you see again once you become a manager. And he said that he knew that managers were important, but he never knew how important they were until he became a manager himself, as in he understood all the roles and responsibilities that you only understand as a person who is responsible for them. And he said that managers do so much to kind of help organize and make everything work, that they are such a critical component into the well-oiled machine that a lot of hospitality industry and culinary industry, companies are, that they are what makes this industry work, by coordinating and helping people do the job that they need to do. So overall, I would say it was a great interview. I'm really glad that I chose him. I'm really thankful for his time and for his work and role as a sous chef / manager in my life for the last 7 months. So I hope that helped you guys learn something, and I hope that all your interviews went as well too. Thank you.